I used to wait until Monday to start a new fitness project. It was like a strange landmark that would give me a clean slate emotionally. Every single Monday was like a fresh start. No matter what happened over the weekend, I'd be like, right, starting again on Monday. And a lot of clients I've coached have said exactly the same thing. They're waiting for an empty schedule, high motivation, a day that they're well slept and didn't get woken up in the middle of the night by screaming kids or the bin men. They want all the stars to be aligned before they start that new thing. It's like procrastination of inaction, perfectionitis, all merged into one. And if that perfect day doesn't show up, they just delay. They don't show up. They reset and back at it on Monday. Now, some of you who read my content may have seen I've recently become a dad. 21 weeks yesterday. I own a business. I'm a husband, busy dad. I've got my own fitness, lifestyle, hobbies, passions that I want to fulfill. I'm really busy. And if I think about the days where I'm not tired, I'm not busy, I'm not working, I don't have client calls, I don't have cricket practice or another hobby on or family visiting, there's no days left in the calendar. I'm always a bit tired. I'm always a little bit busy. I'm always, juggling multiple responsibilities. If I waited for the perfect day, I'd get nothing done. Everybody watching this is the same. You know this, and yet some of you will still be procrastinating. You'll be waiting for the stars to align before you start your fitness journey. Or even worse, you'll have started your fitness journey, an imperfect day has derailed you, and then you're back at it on Monday. Now listen, restarting your journey is better than never doing anything fitness related ever again, throwing baby out with the bathwater. I've had a rubbish day and just sabotaging the rest of your life as a result. So kudos to you for restarting, but there is a different way, something that will get us better success, easier, more long-term, more sustainable, doesn't rely so much on motivation. And it's a simple recognition that our life is made up of busy mornings, low energy evenings, stressed out days, random cravings, road rage, terrible weather, all those things that just throw your day off and it doesn't go to plan. So instead of trying to fix your motivation or trying to fix all of those problems, we can just look at our approach to that situation. You need a plan that works even when your day is the opposite of ideal. If your plan only works when your day is ideal, it was probably a rubbish plan. We need a plan or a strategy or a tactic that works even on your worst possible day. Simple way to do that, I call it the minimum standard method, MSM. Instead of aiming for the perfect workout, perfect diet, perfect routine, I just create a non-negotiable baseline that's so simple I can hit it even on my worst possible day. Whether that's the birth of my son in terms of like the trauma of going to hospital, it not going to plan, there being like an emergency, I still can hit my minimum standards. Whether it's the fact that I live somewhere that gets weeks and weeks and weeks of snow, like main roads closed for weeks of the year, I can still hit my minimum standards. Whether it's the car needing to pass its test, its MOT, insurance, anything that can derail me, I can still hit my minimum standards. For example, let's think about an ideal scenario with training. Well, an ideal scenario with training is one session a day where we focus on rotation through cardio, strength training, flexibility, range of motion, active recovery, probably at the gym so we can apply theories of progressive overload, and to do that every single day. That's an ideal scenario. But realistically, most people aren't going to be able to achieve that. We have to just fall below that towards a minimum standard and give ourselves credit for achieving that. So what is a minimum standard with movement? Well, it could be like 10 minutes a day. I'll get out and I'll do a 10-minute walk. And as long as you do that every single day, great, you're moving some degree towards your goal. It could be something as simple as no matter what happens in the day, I'll do 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 10 squats, 10 star jumps, and do a very simple circuit workout. It's far from ideal, but it's better than nothing. Let's think about an analogy similar with nutrition. Well, the ideal scenario is that you eat 3 meals a day in an 8-hour eating window, 16 hours fasted, and you have complete macro balance, eating in a calorie surplus. But life doesn't always work like that. Sometimes you have to have a late lunch or an early start. or we are in a situation where we don't get to count our macros because we're eating out or a friend's cooked or something like that. So what is the minimum standard we could apply? Well, for me, my minimum standard is as long as I get 40 grams of protein in per meal, 120 a day, I know I've hit my minimum requirements to sustain health as per our NHS guidelines in the UK here. Great. I've just hit a minimum very simply. And all I have to focus on is one ingredient rather than thinking about timings, thinking about macro balancing, thinking about anything like that. I just hit a minimum standard. Is it going to get me all the way towards my goals? No, but it's going to get me quite far towards that goal. And it's also going to create this sense of space, this sense of not feeling pressure or shame for falling short because I'm still being proactive towards my goals. For lifestyle, I often think about routines. I think about, well, an ideal stress-free, low cortisol morning routine. I think about an evening routine, winding down, red light, no caffeine for 10 hours before bed, 2 hours of no food before bed. And you can kind of put these structures in place that are going to be really ideal. You're going to have a great night's sleep. You're going to wake up feeling well rested. Your cortisol and stress hormones are going to be low. Your digestion is going to be working. You're going to be hydrated, etc., etc. But for most people, just saying, I'll cut off caffeine at noon and I'll try not to eat 2 hours before bed, that's a great minimum standard. And it's going to get you quite far towards your goal without feeling like you've failed because you're being proactive. The MSM, minimum standard method, it works because it avoids the all or nothing trap. You're no longer asking, can I be perfect today? You're asking, can I hit my minimum? Spoiler, in 99.9% of scenarios, no matter how busy or stressful or traumatic or emergency they are, you can still hit your minimum standards. They are designed by default for that to be true. Now, here's where it gets powerful. What most people don't realize is that the small actions are what get us towards the goal. Most people are playing far too big and they're waiting for that big thing that's going to like leap them towards their goal. Whether it's like, I lost 3 pounds this week, or I did 5 gym sessions, big, quite lofty goals. Whereas in reality, it's the small daily consistent actions that build up. They help us achieve momentum and they stack year on year or week on week, month on month, year on year to actually get us that result that we would dream of. They also build the identity of I'm the person that follows through because I can do that thing every single day for a year. And we build that self-identity of actually I'm a winner. I deliver on my promises to myself. I can achieve those things. I can be consistent. I can create momentum rather than just be someone that is, I have to stop. I have to restart. I'll go at it again in 6 months, maybe, if I can be bothered, if something doesn't derail me. If you're derailed by the weather, etc., etc., that is a very different psychological position from someone who has planned for it and can work despite it. So here's your task for today for those that fancy playing along. You can set yourself some minimum standards and you can just use a couple of simple brackets. Minimum standard for fitness, minimum standard for nutrition, minimum standard for lifestyle. Not your ideal plan, not your ideal plan, not your ideal plan. Something that would work even on your worst days. Not your best case routine, your worst case plan. What's the lowest level of movement I can complete? What's the baseline expectations of myself with nutrition? What's one small habit that's going to move me forward? Write them down, make them clear, and make them easy to win. Make it easy to win. Then today, don't wait for the motivation. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for the ideal day or perfection for the stars to align. And just hit those minimum standards. To build that momentum, one step at a time, that's what it takes. Motivation beats perfection every time.